Welcome to Shredder Fanfic. Like, subscribe, and hype video. Join members to gain early access to new videos. The main character, after dying in his previous life, he wakes up as Ash Ketchup inside a Pokémon with an invincible body. What is he gonna do inside a Pokémon?
Let's not talk about that. I'm calling you today because I have something important to tell you. I quickly explained the whole story to Professor Oak. Sure, no problem. I have plenty of space in my backyard for Hakron and the others. Thank you so much, Champion Yukinari-sama. Upon hearing Professor Oak's agreement, Uncle Caesar excitedly pushed past Ash to express his gratitude to the professor. No need to be so polite. I'm no longer a champion. Time flies, but in my memory, the championship has always been yours. Professor, you were a champion. Ash really didn't know that. That was a long time ago, Ash. Don't forget to send Dragonair and the others over in a Poké ball. I have to go now. There are 4 in total, 1 big and 3 small. There's a teleporter in the center of the park. Ash first caught Dragonair and Dratini in Poké balls and then used the machine to teleport to the research lab. But then one of the Dratini refused to go into the Poké ball and went straight to Ash. He stubbornly voiced his opinion. MMM tilde, MMM tilde. Zyrojai sensed its emotions through the waveguide. Don't you want to experience that moment again when your mother was taken away and you were powerless to do anything about it? Ash bent down and looked the Dratini in the eye. Great eyes. I can make you stronger, but the training will be very rigorous. Can you accept that? My Tilda. It turned around and said goodbye to its mother and brothers and sisters. Okay, we're partners from now on. Ash took out his Poké ball and caught Dratini. Ding! New side quest triggered. Fat Man's Ambition. Evolve Dratini into Dragonair. Rewards, Alliance coins plus 800, speed plus 2, free attribute points plus 2, skill, Dragon Tail. I caught a Dratini. We still need to demonstrate the standard movements. Zyrojai, have we forgotten something? Zyrozia suddenly asked. No, I haven't forgotten anything. Team Rocket. Those 3 idiots are still frozen in the ruins of Dragon Valley. Chapter 50, Capturing Team Rocket. After dealing with the Hakuryu incident, Ash went to Team Rocket's large ice block. You guys are frozen for so long, and you're still perfectly fine. You're really tough. In Ash's aura perception, the life force of the 3 of them was so vigorous that it was about to burst forth. Open the secret manual of the waveguide hero and find a special move inside. Spatial transfer seal can be activated by thought. The person stamped will be teleported to within half a meter of the user, regardless of their location. Bound by souls, use with caution. Cannot be blocked or unblocked. Legend has it that in ancient times, before Poké balls existed, heroes used this method to summon Pokémon. A normal human soul can only bind a maximum of 6 souls. The thought of being tied to these 3 for life made Zyroj's heart ache terribly. But there's no way around it. The trio of idiots are just too dangerous. This time they've brought out a waveguide shield. I can't even imagine what they'll dare to bring out in the future. We can only give them some insurance for now. After the space transfer seal is used, the 3 of them will be equivalent to Ash's summoned beasts. Break the ice in an area behind the rockets. Then he placed his palms on their backs and used his wave power to inscribe intricate runes deep into each person's soul. Each one must be pressed for a full 20 seconds. The energy of the seal quickly formed blue patterns that spread from their backs to their entire bodies, bursting out with a bright light before disappearing immediately. That should work, right? Ash practiced this move for a long time. It was originally meant for Misty and the others. If he fails, then he'll have no choice but to take drastic measures against the rockets. With a snap of his fingers to activate the seal, Ash felt a portion of his aura power instantly drained away. However, with his current aura power, that amount is negligible for Ash. The Team Rocket trio, who were originally inside the ice block, suddenly disappeared from the large ice block with a flash and appeared on the grass half a meter in front of Ash. My head hurts so much. Kojiro felt like he was catching a cold. His whole body was ice cold. Where are we, Meow? Musashi and Meow Meow quickly regained their senses. You're awake. Let's play a game. Ah, you little rascal. The three of them reacted as if they had seen a ghost when they saw Zyroji, and immediately hugged each other in a panic. I'll give you 10 chances. I'll close my eyes and count down 3 minutes. If you can escape within the time limit, I'll let you go. But if you get caught, I'll give you a good beating. If you still can't escape after 10 tries, you'll be my subordinates for life. After giving them this wicked suggestion, Ash started counting down without waiting for their agreement. What? Do it for a lifetime? Idiot! Musashi quickly punched Kojiro and Meowth. That brat gave us a once-in-a-lifetime chance to escape, and you're still wasting your time. Show him how good Team Rocket is at escaping. The trio, realizing what was happening, immediately began to run away. Zyroji gave them extra time and then snapped his fingers. A flash of light. How could this be? We've already run outside the park. Their faces still held the happy expressions of having escaped, but unexpectedly, in the blink of an eye, they were back in front of Ash. Page 45. Looks like you guys aren't very good at escaping. Zyroji grinned maliciously as he beat them up, then started counting to himself again. But the rocket's tenacity showed not only vitality, but also spirit, and the bruised and battered trio began to run away again. Furthermore, they learned their lesson and believed that such a bizarre event must have been caused by Ash's aura. He repaired the waveguide shield within a minute of escaping and put it back on his head. What a group of geniuses! Unfortunately, Ash snapped his fingers again. They reappeared in front of Ash. Aye. An actress's life depends on her face. Don't slap her face. What on earth is going on, Meow? In just a few tens of minutes, they were beaten up 10 times by Zyroji. The stamp is really useful. Ash was very satisfied. Then, according to the agreement, you will be mine in life and in death. Team Rocket knelt at Ash's feet, nodding incessantly. They were utterly terrified. As long as you obey my orders and do my work well, I will not treat you unfairly. Ash snapped his fingers as he moved forward, and Team Rocket followed his movements, constantly flashing. Seeing this, the trio nodded, even more vigorously. You guys stay with the Rockets now, and act as my inside agents for my future actions. The three of them looked distressed. I will pay off your debts. The trio immediately beamed with joy. Long live the wise and mighty Lord Zyroji. We are now your subordinates. Meow, does Ash Ketchum need a shoulder massage? Seeing their fawning manner makes Zyroji feel uneasy. Is it really a good idea to take them as subordinates? Didn't you say back in the Golden Forest that you would never betray Team Rocket? The Rockets immediately started complaining when their sad stories were brought up. We were too arrogant back then. Boss, you don't know, we haven't been paid for several months. We can't get in touch with headquarters either. No one is willing to answer our calls. Meow, if we hadn't sold a bunch of Dodery last time, we would have starved to death long ago. Indeed, it seems that Kojiro and his group have always been on the periphery of Team Rocket. While they may not be considered part of the Rockets, they can still participate in some Rockets events if they are present. If you call them Team Rocket, Giovanni seems to have almost forgotten who they are. Every classic scene involves Kojiro and his two companions solemnly reporting their mission to Giovanni. Sakaki said, "Okay, okay," to everyone, and then as soon as he hung up the phone, he asked the person next to him, "Who are these three guys? You guys are really having a tough time. Don't worry, follow me on missions, and I'll get you funding." He handed them 20 yuan on the spot, giving them a small demonstration of his financial strength. Long live Ash Ketchum, ×3. Ding! Detected that the host has acquired a gym membership, crossed out, as a subordinate. Loyalty system launched, store ads, runaway buyback, function. Second-hand gym equipment, member information, unused items, and surplus items can be exchanged for Alliance coins. Is this for gym owners who have absconded with their money? Zyrojai mentally complained for a moment and then ignored the system. A quick glance revealed that the trio's loyalty level was 59, indicating they were unlikely to betray them for the time being. You can participate in the rocket's missions in the future, but don't take direct action. The important thing is that you can no longer do bad things on your own initiative. Zyrojai made his most basic request to them. Don't do bad things. Can't do it. Ash's eyes suddenly sharpened. Completion guaranteed. Also, don't reveal my existence to anyone. Of course, even if those three idiots from Team Rocket went around telling everyone that their leader was Ash, no one would believe them. If you betray me, I really will kill you. Zyrojai's tone was indifferent yet filled with murderous intent when he said this. The three were so frightened that they trembled, and their loyalty increased by 1, changing from temporarily not going to betray them to being completely loyal. After dismissing the trio, Ash began to think about the future. Once I had subordinates, I really wanted a base. Ding! Side quest triggered. It's always best to have your own place. Own your own territory. Rewards: Alliance coins plus 1200, free attribute points plus 2, unlocks various furniture items in the shop. In fact, Ash has always wanted to have an organization because he also has ambitions and dreams. Ash realized from the Pokémon Academy incident that while the Pokémon world was indeed a utopia compared to the world before he transmigrated, it wasn't enough. The Kanto region still faces various problems, including evil organizations, environmental pollution, the gap between the rich and the poor, and infighting within the Alliance. The reason why the Kanto region produces so many excellent trainers is simply because it's chaotic. This place is home to amazing Pokémon, making the world a better place. Ash isn't one to sit idly by and wait for death. He wants to take matters into his own hands and change the world. Therefore, he needs his own power, an organization that belongs to Zairoji. Kojiro and his friends are just the beginning. The question is, where should they choose as their base? Ash doesn't have any family connections to rely on. My father is an ordinary researcher, and my mother, Hanako, is a pharmacist. Is marrying into another family the only option? After thinking for a long time, Ash could only think of Misty, Sabrina, and Rika. Xyroxia is the heir to the Cerulean Gym. Sabrina is the only daughter of the Saffron Gym, and Rika is the only surviving member of her family. The more I think about it, the more I feel that marrying into the family has great potential. They're all powerful, local families from big cities. It's a tough choice. No, how can something acquired in this way be considered one's own power? The main problem is that Zairoshi can't get over his own pride. Since I'm still young, it's important to build up my strength first. Chapter 51, Fire-Breathing Dragon. Ash and Misty reunite back in the center of the park and head to the park again to bring warmth to the wild Pokémon. Speaking of which, what about those 3 Rockets players? After Xyroxia caught a horser in the park, she suddenly thought of Team Rocket. They've already been knocked away by me. Don't worry about them. After giving a casual reply, Ash quickly told Misty to pay more attention to the group of toros in front of them. These are the most important things right now. The cows are still waiting for our love and care. The pattern remains the same. Clefairy continuously unleashes Ice Beam to control Tauros' movements, while the other Pokémon unleash their attacks relentlessly. Even the newly captured Dratini was quietly gaining experience points on the side. There are so many Pokémon in the park. You don't even need to look for them. They're practically delivered to your door. Ding! Congratulations, host. You have achieved the achievement. Enemy of Wild Pokémon. You have defeated Wild Pokémon 4,000 times. Rewards: League Coins plus 800. Attack plus 1. Title: Enemy of Wild Monsters. Wild Pokémon have a chance to flinch when they encounter you. After defeating and healing the Tauros 3 times in a row, Ash finally let them go. However, before leaving, he also managed to catch a Tauros using a ball from the park. Since we don't have it yet, let's just consider it as collecting illustrations. He quickly turned his attention to a completely new goal. Look over there, Dodery. It's using Ice Beam. With Ash around, the Pokémon in the wild are truly blessed. Ash, who wreaked havoc on the Pokémon in the park for 3 whole days, is still trying his best to spread warmth today. Charmeleon, breathe fire. In front of a group of Nidoran and Nidoran frozen by the freeze ray, Charizard opened its mouth wide and shot out a thick pillar of fire, defeating them all. They must feel so warm. Giving himself a big thumbs up for his actions, Zyrojai skillfully took out healing potions from his bag, preparing to give them to each of them one by one until they were healed, and then give them another injection. Suddenly, a dazzling white light burst forth from Charmeleon's body. Ash looked excitedly at Charmeleon. Is it coming? It's finally evolving. After the rapid transformation, the white light dissipated, and Charmeleon evolved into fire-breathing dragon. Old Spray has finally officially launched. The evolved Charizard is orange-yellow in color and taller than Charizard, and it also grows a pair of wings on its back. Its overall appearance resembles a western dragon, giving it a majestic and imposing presence. Ding! New side quest triggered. What legendary Pokémon do you have? Defeat Articuno using Charizard. Rewards: 800 Alliance Coins, 2 free attribute points, 1 Charizard Mega Evolution Stone X. Charizard's evolution, finally, somewhat dispelled Ash's faint sadness. So what could possibly make our Invincible Ash feel down? Actually, he discovered that he seemed to be cursed. Just like Quarter, every time he throws this ball, it catches a Tauros with perfect accuracy. Even though he was aiming at a Spearow, a flock of Tauros would suddenly rush out and block his Poké ball. At first, we thought it was a problem with the ball, but after conducting several experiments with Xyroxia, we realized that it was not. Ash discovered that whenever someone was near him, no matter who threw the ball or whose ball they were holding, it would always hit Tauros on the head with perfect accuracy. This is practically a curse. Every time something like this happens, Ash will lead his Pokémon to beat up the suddenly appearing Tauros army. To prevent this from happening again, Ash didn't let Tauros go after beating them up. Instead, he tied them up and left them aside. But just when Ash thought everything was fine, and excitedly threw out a Poké ball again, a new group of Tauros appeared. That's an exaggeration. Without any warning, and even in Ash's aura perception, everything seemed normal. Page 46. Tauros was just quietly grazing there, but as soon as Ash picked up the ball, they would rush over. In the end, Ash caught a total of 30 Tauros. Ding! Congratulations to the host for achieving the achievement. Call me the Western Cowboy. Own more than 20 Toros. Rewards: Alliance coins plus 500, speed plus 1. Trait: riding LV1, riding LV2. I'll ride even a human. 30 Toros. I'd better give them all to Professor Oak. After chuckling, Ash decided to give Professor Oak another surprise. However, his enjoyable monster hunting time was about to end. Previously, the park's manager, Uncle Caesar, had approached Ash and even knelt down to beg for mercy. Please, Ash, leave these Pokémon alone. They're already traumatized. Ash has already defeated almost all the Pokémon in the park. Although it won't leave any physical damage, the emotional damage is still significant. He had no choice but to agree to Uncle Caesar's request that today be the last day before he left. Alas, happy days are always short-lived. However, we've also gained a lot these past few days. Ralts has evolved into Curlier. The adorable little Nanyang evolves into the adorable Nanyang. Although she is no longer small and white, she is still very cute. Unlike her previous child appearance, she has evolved to have the feel of a pure and innocent young girl. The good-for-nothing Garchomp is almost completely bewitched. Every day she would pick a wildflower to fawn over her, but Curlier always remained indifferent to it. Their attitude was also inconsistent. This is completely the attitude towards a simp. Nan Nyang's methods are truly remarkable. Ash was quite satisfied with the fact that the other Pokémon also gained a lot of experience. I feel really reluctant to leave here. I'm sure the Pokémon here will miss me too. No, I think they just want you to never set foot here again. Xyroxia had a great haul this time, catching a black seahorse and a stinging jellyfish, and now she's all smiles. Inside Professor Oak's laboratory. This is truly remarkable, Dr. Oak. Your latest paper on the living habits of Grimer is incredibly profound and insightful. You flatter me, you flatter me. How could it not be profound when they were all personal, painful experiences? Professor Oak can't help but shed tears whenever he thinks about them. Dr. Odamamaki, your newly published research results are also excellent. This paper, especially its research on stinky mud deodorization, caused a huge sensation in the academic community. He truly deserves to be called a leading figure. I had a friendly exchange of compliments with Dr. Odemarco over the phone. I never expected that Muck would inspire Oki. Professor Oak, who had been struggling to write his new paper, suddenly found himself writing with great ease thanks to Ash's help. Ah, Professor Oak, the teleporter behind you seems to be making a constant noise. Damu was terrified at the mere sound of that voice and said, sweating profusely, Dr. Birch, could you please help me look at the name on the teleporter's display screen? I'm too scared to turn my head. It seems to be a trainer named Ash. At this point, because there were so many Poké balls, several fell off the table of the teleporter. Professor Oak, watch out. Toros burst out of the Poké ball and charged at Professor Oak, sending him flying. Ah, I knew it. Ash. Chapter 52, The Four Ibu Brothers. Another day of getting lost, just like always. Ash was already numb to it all. He released Eevee and started searching for wild Pokémon in the nearby grass. Just then, Eevee seemed to have made an unexpected discovery and cried out towards a tree hole. Eevee tilde, Eevee. What's wrong? Did you find something? Inside the tree hollow was an Eevee wearing a bell. Oh my, how cute. I can't believe I met Eevee in the wild. Xyroxia excitedly rushed over, picked it up, and refused to let go. Miss, please don't get excited. Eevee has an owner. Pick up the small metal plaque next to the tree hole and place it in front of Xyroxia. Evolution Town no. 404 Tei should be this person's Eevee. Tilda, it's a lost Pokémon. This is a good thing. It means there are towns around us, and we haven't had to replenish our supplies for a long time. Although the system shop also has food, it's ridiculously expensive, and Ash won't buy it unless absolutely necessary. Know it. After all, Misty isn't the type of person to take someone else's Pokémon for herself, but she still feels disappointed. Using its waveguide senses, Ash quickly located the town, and then, following the road signs, found the owner's house. So big. It's unbelievable that such a large villa exists in this remote, desolate town. Ash and his friends didn't even get to see their master. The gatekeeper picked up Eevee and brought 3 more evolution stones as a thank you gift. This family is really rich. He casually gave out 3 evolution stones. After sending Eevee back, Ash and Misty went to the town's inn. Because she was too tired from training in the morning, Xyroxia fell asleep as soon as she got to her room. After gently covering her with the blanket and leaving a mark to prevent any danger, Xyroxia immediately returned to the large villa they had visited earlier. Evolution Town, nestled at the foot of the Evolution Mountains, has a rather casual name, but it directly points out the unique characteristics of this small town at the foot of the mountain. It's a town that produces all kinds of evolution stones, and the people in this town are all employees of a mining company and their families. The company is owned by the Ibu family, whose mansion is located in the center of town. Ash hid in the shadows and observed. Today, their family is holding a grand celebration to commemorate the youngest of the 4 brothers' first time. My first Pokémon battle. What's there to celebrate? Xyroxia said, not really understanding the thinking of rich people. Just then, a sound came from inside the courtyard. Xyroxia looked closely and was even more shocked. The men directing the servants in the courtyard were none other than 3 burly men with terrible fashion sense. Colorful, flamboyant hairstyles and eye-catchingly tight pants. And the old man's undershirt that exuded a magnetic, imperial taste made Xyroxia feel ashamed. Is this the kind of taste a normal person should have? Don't let it poison this land. Ash carefully compared the information he had gathered on the way here. These 3 people should be the 3 brothers, Rai, Huo, and Shui, who are currently in charge of the Ibu family. This also reveals the dangers in the Kanto region. How many large families have been forced to hand over power to their children after the death of both parents? It was precisely because the Eevee family wasn't doing well that Ash wanted to see if they could cooperate. Butler, have everything been arranged for the banquet? Reizo, the eldest of the 3 brothers, looked at the list in his hand with a serious expression. Of course, we have prepared all the equipment we can buy, including an ultrasound machine specifically for examining Pokémon. At that moment, a tall, muscular, bald man with a moustache descended from the sky and landed on the grass in the courtyard. It's actually Ash in disguise, the classic swindler disguise of the Sunt. Anne is back for a limited time. The exaggerated entrance immediately put the 3 brothers, Lei, Huo, and Shui, on their guard. Who are you, and what are you doing here? I heard they offer ultrasound scans here, so I came. Xyroxia said, in a very serious tone. Reizo was a little confused by this. Did he come to borrow the machine? What about pregnant Pokémon? You can do whatever you want. Reizo is sure this person has something wrong with their head. Quickly turn around and shout. Where are the security guards? Also, upon hearing this, the security guards at the scene immediately covered their buttocks and dared not approach. The more composed second brother, Archie, immediately realized what was happening. Today is just a banquet for our younger brother Tei. Please state your purpose clearly. Actually, I am the god of muscles. I have come down today to reward you. Judging from their t-shirts and tight pants, the three brothers must be fitness enthusiasts. Ash took off his shirt and started the Super Rookie 2 mode to show them what it was all about. As Ash's muscles twitched, a strong wind swept through the courtyard, making it difficult for Reizo to open his eyes. Those beautiful muscle lines, that powerful aura. Could it really be the god of muscles? It's obviously impossible. The third brother, Mizichi, punched his unreliable older brother and quickly released his water sprite. Water spirit, use water pulse. But Ash didn't dodge at all, casually slapping away the water pulse and arriving in front of the Vaporeon. Another slap, and the water sprite lost its ability to fight. This weak strength cannot defeat me. They need to broaden their horizons. Ash put his hands on his waist and assumed the Kamehameha pose, gathering power towards the distant mountain. Artilda Wave Guide, Kaigong Wave. This attack contained 80% of Ash's aura power. The energy beam shot forward and then exploded with a loud bang. Page 47. A huge gash was blasted open on the distant mountain peak by Ash. The terrifying power stunned everyone present. Apart from the three brothers Lei, Huo, and Shui, everyone else immediately scattered and fled. It takes 20 seconds from charging up to unleashing this move. Sighing inwardly, Ash realized he was still not strong enough. Ignoring the fleeing people, he casually pulled out a bottle of healing potion and handed it to Mizjai. This is for healing Pokémon. We'll give it to the water spirit later. Mizjai was still full of questions after receiving the medicine. Give me the medicine. Aren't you an assassin sent by the second-in-command company across the street? What second-generation male company? Zyroshai had no idea. I told you, I'm here to give you a reward. Let's go to a suitable place and have a proper talk. He's the god of muscles. In a secluded living room inside the mansion, Ash had removed the disguise from his face, but his body shape had not yet returned to normal. What exactly does Mr. Muscle God want to do? The first to speak was Reizo, the eldest of the three brothers. You are all good people because you love fitness, so I have come to protect you. Seeing that Ash still wouldn't tell the truth, Reizo had no choice but to reveal his own secrets. To tell you the truth, Mr. Muscle God, our family is in a very bad situation right now. After our parents died, the second son of a gangster, who was once the company's biggest rival, tried to force us brothers to hand over the mines we owned. Not only that, he also hired Team Rocket to assassinate us several times. Colluding with Team Rocket. Didn't you report this to the League? Ash hadn't expected Team Rocket to be involved. Of course it was reported, but as you can see, Evolution Town is located in such a remote place that it is on the periphery of the Alliance's power, and the Alliance is willing but unable to do anything about it. That makes sense. Even in big cities, the Alliance's police force is so weak, let alone in such remote corners. The oppression from the second son is getting more and more severe. He often secretly sends people to sabotage our production and squeeze our sales channels. Reizo took out the company's profit and loss statement and handed it to Satoshi. The family is now close to bankruptcy and has even started to default on wages. No wonder those security guards ran away so readily. They were broke. The reason we're holding this celebration for my younger brother's first duel today is to show the outside world that the family has gained another male member capable of fighting. At this moment, Archie, the second son who was staring at his family photo, suddenly spoke up. As you can see, Our family is on the verge of life and death. You're so powerful, we can't stop you from doing whatever you want. We just beg you to spare our brother's life." After hearing what they said, Zyro Zhai felt that he had come to the right place today. "Don't be so pessimistic. Join my organization and let me protect your family's safety." Chapter 53, Crimson Group. The second son on the other side not only wants to take over your company, but also your entire family's lives. "If you obey me, you will not only still receive half of the company's profits, but I will also guarantee your safety." Zyro Zhai stood up, his tall and sturdy figure looming over the three brothers. "How many times has Team Rocket come to assassinate you? This is the 5th time already. I will take care of it for you." For some reason, Reizo always felt that Ash's words were very trustworthy. "If it can protect my family's safety, I don't mind obeying you, but—" "There are no buts. All you have to do is believe to your heart's content. Come and trust me." After their parents died, the three brothers had been living in anxiety and confusion, but at this moment they only felt at peace. Ding! Congratulations, host. Your talent level has increased from Orator LV1 to LV2. It's time to find a beer hall. The Orator's qualities are invaluable. My God, that second son of the underworld has teamed up with other evolution, stone suppliers, to destroy all of our company's sales channels. Even without CI Nan, the other suppliers are unlikely to give back the share they've taken. Our company used to be the largest supplier of evolution stones in the Kanto League, but now I finally understand why there's always been a shortage of evolution stones in the Kanto region. This is the root of the problem. Don't worry about that. And don't call me a god, just call me. Zyro Zhai doesn't want to use his real name yet, but he really doesn't have any talent for naming things. After thinking for a while, he finally came up with a name. From now on, just call me Crimson. Ash actually has quite a few channels for selling evolution stones. Those who would buy evolution stones are undoubtedly trainers. There's no better place to find a trainer than in front of a gym. Ash has access to 3 gyms, all of which are among the 8 gyms in the league. That night, Ash snapped his fingers and summoned the trio of James and his friends. Where is this place?" The 3 people each had a bowl of noodles in their hands, and it seemed that they had been summoned halfway through their dinner. Ash looked at them speechlessly. "You didn't use all the money I gave you to eat, did you?" "Meow, how could this be, Ash-sama?" Meowth immediately rubbed his hands together and came over to pat Ash's shoulders, while Jessie and Kajiro were still frantically shoveling noodles into their bowls. Smack, smack, we'll always keep Ash's words in our hearts. "All right, I called you here today because I have an important task for you tonight. You guys should be very familiar with the Rockets' style of doing things. Of course, we are the Rockets. Ash has already obtained the location of the second son's company from Raze. Their base was also on this evolutionary mountain range, and on the other side of the mountain range. He wants to resolve this problem tonight. They released a fire-breathing dragon, and the 3 people and 1 cat sat on its back and flew towards the headquarters of the second male company. Tonight's mission requires concealing one's identity, so Ash specially brought his rarely used Ratata, Dodrio, Baku, and Arbok. He took out several black robes and masks from his backpack and handed them to Kajiro and the others. "Stone mask. You can't become a vampire, but it's welded to your face and will never fall off. You should continue being human. Price, 3,000 Alliance coins, 4750 remaining." What a scary mask, boss. Kajiro was a little scared, looking at the spikes behind the mask. "Don't worry, it won't hurt. Wear them all, or I'll put them on for you." Upon hearing what Ash said, The three of them quickly pressed the stone mask onto their faces. The spikes fused into my body after touching my face, and I didn't feel any pain at all. No one's name is allowed to be mentioned during the operation. Understand? Understood, boss, times 3. Ash also changed into his bioarmor suit, and Charizard flew at full speed, quickly arriving at the target location. However, carrying so many people at high altitudes was exhausting for the old jetpack. Well done, Charizard, get some rest. The second sun's residence is a town similar to Evolution Town, but perhaps slightly larger. Even though it's nighttime, the mines next to the town are still brightly lit. They're still working so late at night. What kind of unscrupulous factory is this? Moreover, the mine's defenses were extremely poor, with overseers chatting in small groups, leaving many blind spots between them. The operation began immediately, with Ash and Meowth splitting up to carry out their tasks. With lightning speed and practiced skill, Zyrojai quickly knocked out and tied up the security personnel around the mine one by one. No one noticed anything unusual during the process. Arbok Black Mist, Dream Eater Hypnosis. The already exhausted workers all fell into a smooth sleep under the influence of the black mist and hypnosis. And Kajiro and his friends were quite reliable this time, discovering and capturing Team Rocket members hiding in the town one by one. Why do you know so much about where we are hiding? The team captains of Team Rocket still couldn't understand. What else could it be? Musashi and Kajiro were the two best trainees at Team Rocket's training school. Sometimes, when the teacher wasn't around, the two of them would be in charge of teaching. Kajiro still feels a bit emotional when he thinks about it, wondering why he ended up in such a miserable state after his official debut. Is everything settled? Zyrojai asked, leading the mine's security personnel to the meeting point. Mission accomplished, boss. All right. Without saying a word, Ash immediately began beating up these prisoners. Will you talk or not? Will you talk or not? Uh, uh, uh. What are you saying? The squad leader was extremely aggrieved. This guy must be crazy. You're asking people to talk without asking anything. What are you even talking about? Didn't you ask? We've been waiting for you, boss. This was awkward, but luckily Ash had the thick skin to pull the bruised and swollen team leader up from the ground. Tell me where your boss is. Deep within the Evolution Mountains, in a room undetectable by any detector. The mighty giant and the Tyrannosaurus Rex, equipped with large root tubers, are having a heart-to-heart talk with the second son. Yes, it's him, tickling his feet again. Really? Page 48. Accompanied by his moans of pleasure, and the trembling Kajiro and his two companions trying to coax him into confessing. In just half an hour, the second man had recruited everyone he could and couldn't, and also handed over their company's accounting books. This guy has been spending money to bribe officials in the Alliance in order to take over Reizo's company. At the same time, a significant portion of the profits was also distributed to other suppliers, leaving the company with only 5,000 million yuan in working capital. However, it was also a lot, generating an additional 5,000 million in revenue in one night. The second son, who was on trial, looked at the burly man in military uniform who had suddenly barged into his house and slowly walked up to him. Beneath that gas mask must lie a pair of bloodthirsty and cruel eyes. You dare to share the same name as my most respected emperor. That's one thing. You're still not a magnetic brat, and you don't have a strong, muscular physique. You're utterly wicked. I'm punishing you, you bald, Mediterranean-looking guy, to enjoy 2 more hours of this. What exactly is this person trying to do? Artilda, who exactly is the emperor? Spare me. In the latter half of that night, Reizo and the others were finally able to get a good night's sleep. Because all the core members of the second male company were tied up and placed in the courtyard of the Ibu family. I never thought you'd be in this situation, second son. He was still wearing that flashy old man's shirt and tight pants, but now Reizo's face was no longer somber, but full of smiles. The Thunder, Fire, and Water brothers looked at Ash with eyes full of admiration. Ash glanced at their loyalty levels. Even the lowest Mizuki had a loyalty of 61. He pulled out the evidence of the second son's crime from his pocket and handed it to them, while pushing Kojiro and the other two behind him forward. These three will temporarily represent me in rebuilding the company. As for how to deal with the second son and others, and how to report to the Alliance, I don't need to teach you, do I? Rest assured, Muscle God, we are very familiar with this. Everything that happened tonight was caused by Team Rocket's double-crossing. After that day, Ibrahimovic Company and the neighboring Second Son Company went bankrupt and reorganized into the Red Group. The people in both towns woke up in astonishment, but no one knew what had happened. But soon nobody cared. The people of Evolution Town received their back wages, while the people of Second Man Town discovered that their working hours had been shortened, with a 9-to-5 schedule and weekends off. Everyone cheered. It's long overdue for a new boss. Ding! Side quest completed. It's always best to have your own place, own your own territory. Rewards: Alliance coins plus 1200, free attribute points plus 2, unlocks various furniture items in the shop. Back at the inn, Ash checked out the new furniture that had appeared in the system shop. Redwood, Sandwood, home teleportation device. Oh, this is also furniture. Chapter 54, Capturing Divine Beasts. Finally, he has his first piece of territory. Although it can't compare to a big city, it's enough for Ash now. Choose a house with a huge yard in Evolution Town as your residence. Zia, who had just entered the house, was still a little confused about the situation. Zyro Jai, where did you get this kind of house? I did a good deed the night before last, and someone gave it to me. If you don't want to talk about it, then forget it. She believed that Zyroji wouldn't do anything bad, so she stopped asking questions. The house is fully equipped and beautifully decorated. It has things like video phones, Pokeball teleporters, and even a Pokémon ultrasound machine. Ash was very satisfied with the fact that the house's courtyard was also a battleground for Pokémon. He also took the opportunity to call Sakura with Zyroxia to discuss the sale of evolution items at the gym. Sakura, after all, was the kind of person who would hold synchronized swimming performances at the dojo, so she agreed as soon as Zyroxia pleaded with her. After I called Naz, she readily agreed, but Legia was a bit of a hassle. Finally, Ash took off his shirt and struck several bodybuilding poses according to her wishes before Rika, blushing, finally agreed. Ding! Rika, affection plus 2. I never thought I'd have to sell my male beauty one day. But these sacrifices are worthwhile for the development of the organization. Although Ash seemed quite pleased when he was being watched. Doing business with such a large establishment can be simple in some ways, but difficult in others. After all, everyone likes to make more money, but reputable old families cherish their reputation. I generally don't easily get involved in conflicts of interest with people I don't trust. The reason why the second son was unable to open up the sales channels for the Daidoken was because his reputation was too bad and no one wanted to pay attention to him. Of course, Ash doesn't just occupy the gym's space for nothing. Each store will give 5% of its revenue to the gym as a channel fee. With these 3 academy channels, the Red Group's operations can now officially get on track. With one worry resolved, Zyro Jai can finally begin preparing for another very important matter. He planned to complete the feat of capturing the mythical beast on the open space of this house. After all, Ash had been looking forward to this legendary Pokémon for so long, and he was still a little nervous on the day he was about to make his move. Carry your 8 strongest Pokémon with you. At the same time, they also called over Kajiro and 2 others to assist them with their newly invented net guns. The 3 guys were dressed in suits and ties, and their hair was styled like adults, so Xyroxia couldn't recognize the rockets. The magical world of Pokémon. Just in case, Ash has already redeemed a Master Ball as a last resort. Of course, it's best not to use them if possible, since he also prepared 500 regular Poké Balls and 10 Ultra Balls. Unless absolutely necessary, he would never use a Master Ball until he had controlled the legendary Pokémon and had thrown away all the balls. He obtained 5,000 million from the raid on the second Sun's house. Of this, 4,000 million was left to the Crimson Group as operating funds, and he kept 1,000 million for himself, which he used to buy Master Balls. Throwing it out feels like my heart is bleeding. Yes, everything is ready. Pico will use the freeze ray as soon as the target appears. Strength and Mega Tyrannosaurus Rex followed up with Ice Punch and Rock Slide. Big Needle will use Quick Move to increase its speed. If the legendary Pokémon escapes, you, Pikachu, and Lucario will be responsible for chasing and intercepting it. Charizard and Scizor kept watch from the air. This scenario had been simulated many times in Zyroge's mind, and the commands he issued were delivered smoothly and effortlessly. After giving instructions to the Pokémon, he immediately told Kajiro and the others to get ready. Be on high alert. If it tries to escape, shoot immediately. Meow, yes sir, boss. Mission accomplished. However, Kajiro still had a question on his face. Boss, how can you be so sure that a mythical beast will appear here? Zyroge waved his hand, indicating that you wouldn't understand. That's because I received a dream from Arceus, which told me that it would happen today, and it will definitely happen. This is a ridiculous reason, but there's nothing Kajiro can do since he's the boss. He checked the surroundings again and took out the fishing net that Xyroxia had given him during a mission. Although it feels unreliable, it's always good to give it a try. Ash mentally used a special water-type, legendary Pokémon battle ticket. Everyone stared nervously at the center of the open space. Sure enough, a white light appeared on that patch of ground. A Pokémon with a blue body and white blocky patterns appeared there. Is that Suijun? Musashi exclaimed in surprise. The mythical beast has really appeared. Arceus's dream was real, and Kajiro's worldview is about to shatter. Suicune, who appeared here, was also quite bewildered. This is where. It glanced at the menacing crowd around it and spoke to Ash, who had the most imposing presence. Human, I am the embodiment of the North Wind. Attack now. Ash cast a fishing net directly at Suicune, and to everyone's surprise, the once majestic Suicune was actually caught in the net. It thrashed about in the fishing net like a dog. The scene left those around them speechless. This is just a very ordinary fishing net. Suicune couldn't even break free from a tattered fishing net. How could a mythical beast look like this? Zyroge was completely dumbfounded. This was nothing like the scene he had imagined. What about intense, skill-based clashes? But now is not the time to consider that. Ash threw a regular Poké Ball at Suicune, and Suicune immediately turned into a red light and was captured inside the ball. After a violent shaking, it was successfully subdued with a thud. Ding! Congratulations, host, you have achieved the achievement. You are the legendary Pokémon. Successfully captured a legendary Pokémon. Rewards: Alliance Coins plus 1200, Special Defense plus 1, Free attribute points +3. The entire room fell silent. Everyone was speechless at this absurd scene. Suicune suddenly appeared, got caught in a fishing net, couldn't break free, and was then captured in a single ordinary Poké ball. Ha ha ha, I must be dreaming. Kojiro held his head in his hands, his brain seemingly overloaded. In the end, Pikoxy, who had been preparing to unleash his power, couldn't control the freezing light emanating from his mouth. The scattered energy struck Kojiro's head, finally calming him down. Ash recalled the Pokémon on site into their Poké balls, and then told Meowth and the others to go back to the company to continue their work. Holding the Poké ball, he was still somewhat incredulous. Is that all? The long-awaited anticipation and tension. After so many days of meticulous planning, Zyro Zhai felt like he had punched a cotton ball. There was a sense of emptiness and helplessness. Page 49. It said that these legendary Pokémon can break free from the control of Poké balls. But after Suicune scored, it never came out on its own again. Does that mean it accepts me? It doesn't quite look like it. Zyro Zhai immediately rushed back into the house. Zyroxia, Zyroxia, come here for a second. He scooped Zyroxia up in his arms and buried his head in her chest, rolling around incessantly. Zyro Zhai needs to calm down and think things through. Although she didn't understand why Ash would suddenly act like this, Misty let him fool around, only reaching out to pat his head to comfort him. Zia is truly a woman who could be my mother. What exactly happened? Zyroxia, I caught Suicune. Ah, what have we caught? Chapter 55, What is a Dog-Rich Water Lord? Ash releases Suicune in the courtyard. The legendary Pokémon's appearance is quite imposing. A sudden northerly wind ruffled its mane, and its body shimmered brilliantly in the sunlight. It really is Suijan. Zyroxia is so excited, she immediately took a picture. The legendary embodiment of the North Wind holds a very high place in the hearts of Pokémon enthusiasts. Surprisingly, Suicune was quite obliging, and actually performed the transformation into the North Wind in front of Misty. This made Zyroxia even more excited, and she frantically pressed the shutter to take photos. Based on Zyrox's visual estimation, did the distance traveled exceed 10 centimeters? Humans should be satisfied now, right? Tell this noisy woman to step aside. I have something to say to you. It's no wonder it's a mythical beast. It can actually talk. It's worth noting that in the Pokémon world, there are very few Pokémon that can speak human language. This time, we might have struck gold. Since Ash didn't understand Suicune's true thoughts, he could only tell Misty to go back inside first. He then sat down properly and faced Suijan, while checking Suijan's information. There was no information about Suicune in the Pokédex, so he looked it up directly from the system. Pokémon name, Suicune. Chinese letter, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. PH 100, Chinese letter, Chinese letter. 75 Chinese letter, Chinese letter. 115 Chinese letter, Chinese letter. 90 Chinese letter, Chinese letter. 115 Chinese letter, Chinese letter. 85. Total 580, for reference only. Ability, focus. Pokémon with this ability cannot flinch. Skill, glare. Affection level, 10%, very curious about you. Intimacy level, 5%, unfamiliar with you. Description, a Pokémon with the gentle grace of a spring within its body. It runs across the land with a gliding motion and possesses the power to purify polluted water. Ding! New side quest triggered. Doghouse Suicune. Please train this disgrace of the Suicune pack and teach it a new skill. Rewards, Alliance coins plus 2,000, free attribute points plus 5, legendary Suicune affection plus 10. How come this Suicune only knows one move? A disgrace to its kind. And who exactly is Doghow? Ash, who was inwardly shocked, remained outwardly calm, but his gaze towards Suicune was gradually turning hostile. HMPH, foolish human, though I don't know how you managed to summon me. But I can reluctantly grant you the honor of serving me for a while. Interrupting it, Zyrojai asked calmly, "You're actually a piece of trash, aren't you?" Suijan hadn't discovered anything yet, and still spoke confidently. "I am the embodiment of the North Wind, the legendary personal guard of the Ho-Oh. Humans, show me some respect. Don't you have any skills at all?" "Ah, how could I not know anything? Bring me a cup of dirty water." Ash took 2 cups of dirty water. Suicune stood up and put her foot into the cup, and the dirty water miraculously became clear. "Now you understand how powerful I am. And the other one. I can only purify 1 cup per day. Good heavens, how can there be such a useless character? Even Suicune's passive skill, which purifies polluted water, can only purify a small cup a day." "Ha ha ha," Zyrojai laughed in exasperation. "By the way, human, I just used my power and I'm hungry. Hurry up and bring me some food. Also, prepare the finest silk bed for me, and I only drink water from the source of a mountain spring, so the room arranged for me must allow me to breathe in the fresh air brought by the north wind. Did you understand, human?" Although he remained calm on the surface, Ash was actually experiencing a volcanic eruption inside. "What kind of water lord is this? This is clearly a water dog, and a lazy, arrogant, and useless water dog at that. Eat, eat, you can have it all." His fingers crackled and popped as he took a deep breath, and Zyrojai's sighs exploded. "Wow, are you really human? How can you suddenly grow so tall? You'll find out soon enough." Bang, bang, bang. A few punches later, Watercun was properly fed several large steamed buns. "Ouch, that hurts. Human, what are you doing? You can't even turn into the north wind to escape, can you? No wonder you stopped moving after scoring the goal. It turns out you simply couldn't escape. Ash is going to teach this arrogant water dog a lesson. Ah, stop hitting me. Stop hitting me. You don't need to serve me anymore." Bang, bang, bang. Suicune's defense, EVs, have increased. "Ah, I was wrong. I am your Pokémon, and you are my master." Bang, bang, bang. Suicune's defense efforts continue to rise. "Master, master, I'll do whatever you say. Please stop hitting me. Please stop hitting me." Suicune's physical defense EVs are still increasing. "Tell me, is that guy named Gauhao your father?" "How could that be? My father is a noble guard of the Phoenix King." Bang, bang, bang. "I admit that my father's name is Gauhao. I admit that my father's name is Gauhao. What a shameless guy. Tell me, why are you such a useless person?" It can only be said that Suicune, as a legendary Pokémon, still has some merit. Even though it had held back, Suicune was still able to roar so loudly after being attacked by the angry Ash for so long. This Suicune is no ordinary creature. "Let me tell you, my father is the Suicune that guards Ho-Oh, the most noble one in the entire clan." It still looked very proud when it talked about its father. Slowly raising his fist, Ash began to glare at him with hostility once again. "Stop talking nonsense. Oh dear, don't do it. Don't be in such a hurry, let me finish. Because my father was Ho-Oh's guard, he was too busy with work to take care of me when I was still an egg. There was a problem during that time, which made me exceptionally weak after birth. I developed slower than my peers and was much weaker, so I was always ridiculed. My father believed that this was because of his mistakes, so he spoiled me from a young age, allowing me to slack off whenever I wanted and never practice my skills. Until I became an adult, he probably saw that I was really not doing well, so he forcibly drove me out of his territory and made me fend for myself. You think you can survive in the wild like that? HMPH, don't look down on me, of course. Of course I couldn't survive, so I just found a clean water source in the forest and lay down to sleep. Later, when I was so hungry that I couldn't stand it anymore and wanted to go back to my father's territory to mooch a few more meals, you summoned me here. What's going on? Oh, he's a spoiled brat. Parents who spoil their children too much only raise useless kids. Why doesn't Suakune's dad understand that? I'll give you a name. From now on, you'll be called 8 Treasure Porridge. No, that sounds awful. Bang, bang, bang. Suakune's defense, EVs have gone up. Oh, my master, I love this name. From now on, there will be no more Suakune from Doghow, only my Suakune from Ash. Next, I will give you special training. The first thing I will do is ride. No matter what, it's still a legendary Pokémon like Suakune, so riding it around is pretty cool. Furthermore, there is a long-standing legend among trainers that the person who receives the recognition of a legendary Pokémon is an honest, brave, and loving trainer. Their status within the Alliance will be greatly enhanced. Ash immediately flipped over and climbed onto Suakune's back. Come on, let's run, Suakune. Suddenly, Suakune's entire body shone with a dazzling light, and a north wind blew across the field. It gracefully glided forward, riding the wind. 10 centimeters. Then he immediately started panting heavily, rested for a while, and then stepped onto the north wind and glided forward 10 centimeters. My God! Chapter 56, The Wonderful Uses of Suajan. Pikachu, Thunderbolt. The yellow-white lightning struck Suakune perfectly as it was running. Ah, you demon, you really are a demon. Don't complain, I'm not sitting on your back getting electrocuted either, so run faster. Don't even think about resting until you've run 25 kilometers. Urged on by Ash, Suakune had no choice but to keep running frantically with tears in its eyes, as it would be electrocuted by Pikachu if it slowed down even a little. However, thanks to such rigorous training, Suakune is no longer the same person who would be out of breath after running just 10 centimeters. Page 50. Moreover, the faster I ran, the lighter my body felt. This is what it looks like when a skill is used. Ding! Suakune, I've learned high-speed boost. Ding! Congratulations on completing the side quest. Doghow's Suakune. Please train this disgrace of the Suakune pack and teach it a new skill. Rewards: Alliance coins plus 2,000, free attribute points plus 5, legendary Suakune affection plus 10. Wow, I actually mastered a new skill. Suakune was even happier than Ash for using its high-speed movement. Ding! Suakune, affection plus 3, intimacy plus 1. All right, goal achieved. 8 treasure porridge can rest now. Upon hearing Ash's command, Suakune immediately lay down, stuck out its long tongue, and began to pant. It really looks just like a dog. Ignoring it, Zyrojai is going to start his own training for the day. Watch closely. Pikachu and I raced the same 25 kilometers. After saying that, he started running, with Ash and Pikachu followed by the 3 Eevee brothers. These past few days, they've all come over to train with Zyroji. Since the company had been temporarily handed over to Kojiro and his 2 brothers by Ash, the 3 brothers found themselves with nothing to do after the handover. So a few days ago, he came to Zyroji's residence, knelt down, and became his disciple. Great God of muscles, please teach us how to make our muscles bigger. I knew I was right about you guys, that you could appreciate the beauty of muscles. All right, I'll take you all. Having too few weak subordinates was indeed not an option, So Zyro Zhai took in these 3 disciples and trained with them on a daily basis. Moreover, when the 3 brothers arrived and saw Ash training Suicune, their admiration for Ash was like a never-ending river. Master truly lives up to his title of God of Muscles. Even divine beasts are easily subdued. You're too powerful, Master. That's amazing. Loyalty increased by 25%. Zyro Zhai had shaved their emo hairstyles into buzz cuts, but they hadn't changed their clothes. It has to be said that although the athletic leggings and old man's t-shirt are a bit of an eyesore, they are indeed suitable for exercise. The 3 of them trained very hard with Ash during this time, which made Ash quite satisfied with them. To build muscle, it all comes down to diet, sleep schedule, and the intensity of your workouts. He took out a note covered in writing and handed it to them. This is a training plan I specially designed for your physical condition. Follow it carefully, and building muscle will not be a problem. Yes, Master. The 3 brothers accepted it, with tears streaming down their faces. The main reason Zyro Zhai has stayed here for so long is that the company needs him to control the overall direction of operations. Although Kojiro and his friends are indeed very talented in business, Satoshi is not at ease entrusting them with all the responsibilities. In addition to supervision, Zyroji has implemented many measures, such as increasing product volume, launching marketing campaigns, and finding brand ambassadors. Another task is to have Meowth and the others improve the purification machine for evolution stones. They were truly geniuses who grasped concepts instantly, and the improved machine became 30% more efficient. Other companies can refine 10 evolution stones from 1 ton of raw stones, while Ash's company can refine 13. Science and technology are the primary productive forces. What can others use to compete with me? Once things are handled properly, the group can be allowed to develop naturally for a period of time. After a month, it was time for Zyroji to leave. During this period, the 4 Ibrahimovic brothers also got plenty of training, and the muscles in their arms increased significantly. Because Ash especially enjoys training with Machamp and Mankey, all 4 brothers have spent a lot of money to catch Machamp and Mankey. That's right, Taichai, the youngest of the 4 brothers, also came to become Ash's apprentice after learning that Ash had a very strong Eevee. What a clever and cute kid. I'll reluctantly accept him. After all, it was thanks to Taichai that he hid his Eevee in the forest so that Ash could find it, which led to what happened next. Otherwise, Ash wouldn't have been able to find Evolve Town, so the kid indirectly saved his family. That's right, Eevee doesn't necessarily have to evolve into the 3 evolutions of thunder, fire, and water. It has many more possibilities. Becoming an Eevee trainer is also a promising career path. So stop forcing your brothers, Eevee, to evolve. The 3 brothers responded in unison, yes, master. And Tai, you should also stop doing things like leaving your Pokémon in the wild. He poked his little head and instructed the 3 brothers and Meow Meow to run the company well. After leaving a teleporter at home, Ash and Misty rode Suicune away from Evo Town. Master, can we rest now? Bang, bang, bang. You lazy dog, you've only walked a dozen meters. Catching such a useless little devil is such a headache. Aren't you of any use? Perhaps it heard Ash's inner voice calling out. During the second day of field training, Ash unexpectedly discovered that Suicune's body seemed to be very compatible with his aura power. Because this 8 treasure porridge thing has no attack skills at all, if you throw it like Squirtle, it will stun itself first. They are completely unavailable when farming jungle monsters. How can a wild Pokémon become stronger if it can't bring a smile to its face? Therefore, Ash could only channel the power of Aura into Suicune, hoping it could try to use Aura Sphere. But unexpectedly, Suicune's body was like a bottomless pit, capable of containing an exaggerated amount of aura power. It's important to know that Ash's aura power level is so high that it's not only abundant, but also extremely violent. Aside from Lucario, who can share the blue bar with him through resonance, only Pikachu can withstand the power of the aura. It can only handle 30% of the volume. Other Pokémon would damage their bodies if they forcibly absorbed the power of aura. Even after being infused with 4 layers of aura power, Suicune still felt nothing. It's finally starting to look like a mythical beast. How's the 8 treasure porridge doing? My stomach feels bloated, but it feels great. Zyrojai increased the power and kept pouring in more waveguide energy. At 5%, 6%, 7%, and finally 9%, Suicune finally reacted. It feels like something's about to overflow. Stop pouring. Stop pouring. It's going to overflow. Suicune started opening its mouth repeatedly, as if something was about to come out, but it couldn't spit it out. Ash had no choice but to prop Suicune up on his shoulder like a rocket launcher to help it. At this moment, an unknown reaction occurred between the wave guide power within Suigun and its own energy. Splash! A powerful jet of water shot out from Suigun's mouth, instantly knocking down several trees in front of it, and it didn't stop. It crashed directly into the nearby hill. This power is like a water cannon, Xyroxia exclaimed in surprise as she looked at Suicune, who was being used as a rocket launcher. Ding! Suicune has learned a new move, Water Gun. This water cannon shot lasted for a full half-hour, and the force of the water jet pierced right through the hillside. Great! You're finally of some use. Ash happily picked up the exhausted Suicune and spun it around. Now I finally have a usable skill for large-scale destruction. The power of the Kai Gong wave, which uses up 80% of the waveguide, is not as strong as this water cannon. It takes 20 seconds to charge up and can only explode once. Water cannons have a wide range, long duration, and great power. Furthermore, the flow of aura power into Suicune was very smooth. I added it little by little earlier because I was worried about hurting it. Otherwise, it could have been filled instantly. My throat hurt so much Suicune lay on the ground like a wilted cucumber. Don't be sad. I'll give you a reward today. Tell me what you want. Ding. Suicune, affection +2, intimacy +1. Anything is fine. Anything is fine. Then I want to eat premium kibble and get me the most comfortable Poké balls. 2 people can't ride me anymore, and from now on you have to call me Suicune-sama. As it continued its endless chatter, tic-tac-toe marks kept popping out of Zyrojai's forehead. Bang, bang, bang. Suicune's defense, EVs, have increased. Chapter 57, Ash has come of age and wants to become a gym leader. Ash and Misty arrived in Dark City after 2 days of travel. What a cool name! Xyroxia jumped up and down excitedly as she looked at the 3 big characters, Dark City, on the city gate. Pretty cringy. However, Ash was also very happy because he didn't get lost this time. Could it be that my luck has turned around and my tendency to get lost has improved? Although the Dark City is quite large, most of its buildings are made of wood. The houses are generally only 1 or 2 stories high, with no tall buildings, and the streets are somewhat dilapidated. The fact that it's called a city instead of a town means this place must be quite prosperous. How come it's like this? The panting Suicune was put into a Poké ball. After all, the appearance of mythical beasts in the city always easily causes a commotion among the people. Ash and Misty strolled along the city streets. There's no one around, and it's broad daylight. Suddenly, several small figures appeared on the roof of a house, and they quickly threw stones in Zyaroj's direction. Damn trainers, get out of our city. How could such an attack possibly harm Ash? He casually swung his hand a few times and smashed several pebbles into powder. Pikachu, Thunderbolt. They pulled the 3 stunned children off the roof. Why did you attack me? Kai. Trainers are all bad. The leader of the brats still glared angrily at Zyaroj.